Okay, part 2, we're talking about using our calculator to evaluate these equations. Keep in mind that these values are actual values for that particular angle. So if I think about the unit circle or just the circle, and I have a sine value, that's a y value of 0.7. So if I draw this horizontal line right here, I'm going to have 2 places where it crosses that line. Okay? And I need angles from 0 to 360. So we're always going to get one angle from the calculator, and we're going to have to find the other angle. So in this case, I'll take that sine button that we used in geometry. Okay, so where you press secant and sine, and then I'm going to type 0.7183. That's the value. So I'm going to try to find the angle that gives me a sine value of 0.7183. When I hit enter, I get 45.91. Now I've already changed my mode to degrees. So if you don't get that answer, you need to change your mode to degrees. Second, quit. And so I'm at 45.9. So this angle right here is 45.9 degrees. Now, I also have another angle. So that means this distance from here to here is 45.9, and so is this one. They're symmetrical. So if this is 180 degrees, then I can subtract 45.9 to get this angle right here. And so that's what it's showing you, that I have 2 values. I have 45.91, and then I subtract from 180 to get 134.09 degrees. Okay. For tangent, tangent, remember, repeats every pi. So if this tangent value, I'm going to do secant inverse the tangent of 1.6198, and that's going to give me 58.31 degrees. Tangent repeats values every pi. So I'm just going to take 58.31 and add 180 degrees, and that will give me 238. Okay, again, it's talking about all the values between 0 and 360. So on the circle here, 58 would be about there. If I add a pi, that's going to put me right here at 238. Okay, so just remember, with tangent, whatever value you get, you can add or subtract pi. Okay. These are all in degrees because it tells me from 0 to 360 degrees. Now down here it's going to say from 0 to 2 pi. So I may have to I'll have to calculate in radian mode, but anyways. Okay, so here's another one. Cosine of theta is negative 0.6691. So I'll do secant cosine negative 0.6691. I should verify that this is still within the domain of -1 to +1, in which it is. Okay, then press enter. Now recall that cosine is my x values, so this would be a negative 0.7. So here are 2 places, where it's going to have angle measures between 0 and 360 with the exact same cosine value. So the first one up here is going to be at 131.997, so let's just approximate that to 132 degrees. Okay, now remember, from here to here is 132 degrees. So if I go back here to 0 or 360, I can subtract 132 to get my other angle right here. So I can take 360 and I can subtract 132, and that gives me 228 degrees approximately. So those are my 2 angles right there. Most of the time, you're going to have 2 values. So keep that in mind. All right, with secant, remember, it is the reciprocal of cosine. So in my calculator, I can actually type secant and cosine, but instead of doing negative 0.48097, I'm going to put this over 1. So I'm going to have cosine of theta is equal to 1 over negative 4.8097. So right here in these instructions, they forgot the negative sign. 1 divided by negative 4.8097. Okay, that gives me 102 degrees approximately. So again, here's my circle. This cosine value, the secant, if I really wanted to figure out where it was, then I can just do 1 divided by negative 4.8097. Okay, so that's roughly a negative 0.2, so it's like right in here. So at 102 degrees, and then I've got to figure this one out. So again, from 0 to there is 102 degrees, so I can subtract 102 from 360. And get 258. Okay, and those are my two angles. Same for cotangent. Again, you can do your tangent. Just make sure that you keep that equal sign there. So let's look at that. So we've got the inverse tangent of 1 divided by negative 0.1228. Okay, so that gives me a negative 83 approximately. Okay, so in my unit circle, negative 83 is about right there. Maybe closer to 90. How would I go about finding a positive angle? Because remember, I need from 0 to 360. So if I add 360, that gives me a coterminal angle of 277. Now with tangent, remember every 180 degrees, it's going to have the same value. So my second angle would be the negative 83 plus 180, which is 97 degrees, which makes sense. That's about 97 degrees. Okay, so that's how we're going to use our calculator both for degrees and radians. Again, this does not mean it needs to be in terms of pi. It just means it's going to be in radians, so change your mode. All right.